trainer. Um, I've been training for about 20 years, and the last 10 years has been as a positive reinforcement Lima based trainer. So just tonight, please put your name, like your full name, and where you're from. Just I just need state and or country, and then I will be writing down names. And at the end of our live Q&A, I will do a drawing for a free bag of Comfort training treats. Um, I've got, oh, where are mine? Oh, they're on me. So I had a member of the community reach out and ask. She actually emailed me and asked how to get her dog used to a wet vac. I don't have a wet vac, but I'm going to show you how to do it with just a vacuum. So I've got my treats on hand. I've got Jade on hand. Hi, Julie. And I will demonstrate how I get a dog used to a vacuum. Um, okay. I'm also, well, I decided to do this from home tonight for two reasons. Um, One, my office is really little, and I wasn't sure that I would be able to fit the vacuum in my office with the dog and everything else. So I decided to do it from home. And second, um, today was a long day, and I spent 5 hours outside working with dogs, and it was freezing cold. Like the sun was out, but it's one of those days where the sun's out, but it's really, really cold. And you know how when you get cold and you get chilled to the bone and then you can't get warm? Like I usually have my heat, like 65 is usually good for me. I had to come home and turn it up to like 72 to get warm. So once I got warm, I decided I didn't want to go outside and drive up to my office. So hi Jennifer. So I decided to do it from home, so I could hang out with my own dogs, um, and stay warm and have my own like vacuum here that I will demonstrate. So two reasons for doing this at home tonight, but I kind of discovered that if I do this in the dining room, the lighting's better than in the living room. So hopefully you can all see a little bit better. Um, okay, so I'll wait for a few more people to get on. Actually, hey Emily, I think this post and so people can see it later. So I'll just go ahead and do it. Emily from Virginia. Okay. Oh, hi, Kathy. How was your trip to St. George? Or have you gone yet? I'm assuming that you went and came back, or maybe you're still down there. So Kathy lives in Utah, and I'm from Utah. So when I go down to Salt Lake, I've done a couple of training sessions with Kathy and her bulldog Charlotte. Charlotte is freaking adorable, cutest dog. Let me put Kathy down. Julie. Oh, Julie, I remember you from last week. I don't know how to say your last name, so I'm just going to write it. Shexnader. How'd I do? Georgia. Okay. Um, so while other people are getting on, and I'll write down names, I'm going to show you basically how to get a dog used to a vacuum. So you can use this same technique for brooms, vacuum, wet vacs, um, basically anything that your dog barks at or doesn't like, you can use this. Oh, good, I said it right. Um, so you can use the same thing. So even though I don't have a wet vac, it'll be the same kind of procedure. So hi Monique, let me write Monique down. Okay, and then I'll go back and write down the people that I've missed or that are logging on while I'm doing this. But I wanted to get this done before I forget and before everybody starts asking questions. Okay, plus I had a request that some people want to see more of Jade. I know she's much cuter to look at than me. She's usually with me. She's just usually sleeping on her bed. Um, and so you don't get to see a lot of her. So, oh, good, you're beautiful weather. Good. Um, it today, like I said, today the sun was out. I thought it was going to be warm. I had 3 outdoor clients, and I literally thought I was going to freeze to death. Um, okay, let me write down Tia. Tia Quinn, where are you from? So that I can just put that down. We have Sasha. Did I say that right? From New Zealand. If I remember right, it's tomorrow in New Zealand. So thank you for joining us. Okay, so I have treats. Let me grab Jade and get a vacuum. Luckily, luckily my cleaning lady was here today. I work like 6 days a week, and so Massachusetts, and so one of my like things I do for myself is I have a cleaning lady come twice a month and do like all the deep stuff. I still have to vacuum, sweep, and mop almost every day because I have 3 dogs and a cat. But I do like to have that really clean feeling. And since I'm not home very much, and when I am home, I want to spend time with my own dogs. So I have a friend come and clean. So luckily she was here today, so my floor should be somewhat clean. Okay, so I'm going to tilt this down. This is the vacuum that I have. And let's see, how can I do this where you can see it? Okay, can everybody hear me okay? You don't need to see me, you just need to really see Jade. Oh, give her name. So first I would just like give her a treat for checking out the vacuum. What is this? She looks at it, and here comes Maddie. Maddie figured out there's treats involved. And then I might actually take a treat and put it right on, look, put it right on the vacuum and let them take it from the vacuum. Look, Maddie, it's okay. Oh, I just got it. And so just getting used to it first without it moving. Put treats on it, let them get close to it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it just a little bit, like that, and treat. So I haven't turned it on yet. I'm just moving it. And when Jade looks at it moving, I'm treating. Daphne actually saw me get the vacuum out, and so she's outside because she doesn't like the vacuum. I should have done this with her. So move it. Good girl. Now, if your dog barks or gets scared, like back up a step and do a few more steps without it moving. And then you can actually pretend like you're actually vacuuming. Oh, good girl. And they're moving away from it, but they're not like barking or acting fearful. So then what I'm going to do, oh great, maybe the battery's dead. I think it's dead. Oh, I know, right? Stand by, battery's charging, hold on. She must have put the battery in when she left. So, that makes sense. That's why okay. So now I'm going to turn it on, off, treat. On, off, treat. On, off, treat. Now I'm going to turn it on and leave it on a little longer. Now the whole time the vacuum's on, I'm treating, and then when the vacuum goes off, the treat stops. So I'm going to do that again. So vacuum's on. And I'm just tossing treats on the ground and she's grabbing him right in front of the vacuum without barking. If she were to bark, then I would just go back to like on-off treat. So you can always back up a step. So now that she's good with that, now I'm going to turn it on and start to vacuum. Toss treat. Toss treat. So I really do it incrementally. Did that make sense to everybody? So I start with them I just bring it out, let them look at it, let them sniff it, and I treat them for each part of that. So they look at the vacuum, treat. They sniff the vacuum, treat. Then I'll start to just slowly move it, treat. Then move it a little bit more, treat. And I'll probably do each one like 3 to 5 times, depending on like the dog's body language. So if the dog's acting fearful and uncertain about it, then I'll maybe stay on that step a little bit longer. And it's funny because usually Maddie will bark at the vacuum and like try to bite the wheels, but she was like all about the treat. And so then I'll do like a turn it like on, treat, off, on, treat, off. And then I will turn it on longer, treat, 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 turn it off, treat, stop. So you're taking the whole year of vacuuming and breaking it into little teeny pieces and treating for each step. And then once, if your dog does okay, then you can actually get to the point of like just vacuuming. And as you're doing it, I would, like as you're doing the vacuum with the wet vac, you can like intermittently like toss treats to your dog for staying calm and just watch you vacuum without barking. If you do have a barker, like I say, usually Maddie barks at the vacuum, and tonight she was all about the treats, which is good. But you can also put your dog like in a crate with a stuffed Kong or something else to do so that you can vacuum in peace or clean your carpets in peace without the dog barking. If you just put him in another room, you can do that in another room or a crate, but give them something to do, a nice chew item, something to do so that they stay kind of like focused on their own thing and they don't really care what you're doing. That was a really good question. Since I got Julie's email today, I figured it'd be easier to just demonstrate it than try to type out like what to do. So that was a good question. Plus it was an excuse for me to just stay home and stay warm. Okay, so Emily's asking, trying to scroll. So I'm trying to work on leash walking still with Raven. She gets extremely distracted. I do the stop and wait method, and when I stop, she puts herself immediately back right next to my side, but as soon as we start walking, she's pulling again. I've also tried changing directions, but same thing. So another technique that you could try, I'm gonna answer that first. So I've been working with Jade out in public, and we went to like an outdoor mall, kind of like an outlet where, you know, you walk outside, and she was so distracted by every single garbage can. Like she wanted to sniff and pee on every single garbage can. So one thing that I did was I put her on the other side. So whatever your dog is like distracted by, I put her on my right since all the garbage cans are on the left. And we practiced walking by them first with me as kind of a buffer. And I also did a lot of like focus, like watch me, and have her focus on me and reward for that. So I do that. And then sometimes when you do the change direction, you just have to really be, I mean, sometimes I get dizzy because I'm doing it so much with dogs, where we changing direction. Another one I do is I will drop treats like right in front of the dog, so it gets them to slow down. Since I have the space and I have Jade here, I'll kind of show you what I mean by that. Okay, Jake. So Jay's, oh, let me move the chair. So Jay's off leash, but, here, okay, so she actually is a puller sometimes. So I'm gonna like drop a treat in front of her. Drop a treat. Drop a treat. Hey, Maddie. And then just keep dropping treats like right in front of her as we're walking because it gets her nose focused to the ground. And then she's not as distracted by what's going on in her environment. And I'm using the puppered salmon treats right now, and that's what I use when I'm working on leash walking and need to get a dog to slow down. Hang on, Maddie's looking at me like, how come I didn't get any? Okay, here you go. Good girl. So that's another way, and we used to do that at the rescue a lot. So we would drop a treat like every step just to get the dog focused to the ground and slowing down. And then we'd go every 2 steps, every 3 steps, every 4 steps, and then start to widen the distance to where when we didn't really need to drop the treats anymore. Or we could do it like intermittently. So you could try that as well. So let's see. There's also one called the circle method, which basically you could use that when she gets excited when she sees other dogs. I'm going to put my treat back up on the table. Otherwise, these dogs are going to be begging through the whole thing. There's another one called the circle method, and there's one on YouTube, but Emily, if you email me and remind me, I'll send you the link to the one that I like. So actually what you do is as soon as your dog sees a dog and starts to react, then you start to walk in a big circle. So your dog's on the outside and you just keep walking in a big circle until your dog like comes into you and then again. So they don't really have the opportunity to pull because you're just going in a circle. And then when they come into you, then you can go straight. Also, when a dog's hair stands up on end, that's not always bad. That just means over arousal. But if she starts whining, staring, starting to pull and lunge, then she's almost getting to the point of being over threshold. So I would say, let's go and just turn and go the other way. And so that she doesn't have the opportunity to practice that behavior. Then I would start to set things up and do the look at that. So when you're at a distance, so at whatever distance you can be at to where your dog can see another person or another dog and not whine. And the whining is sometimes anxiety. It's not always like, oh, I want to go say hi to that dog. Sometimes it's like an anxiety thing. So if a dog even whines, like I'll turn and go the other way. But if I see a dog in the distance, we'll stop and I'll start to do the look at that. Like, oh, look, there's a dog up there. Click treat. Look, there's a dog. Click treat. And then as the dog gets closer and the dog looks, as long as the dog stays calm and can look at another person, another dog, then I will continue to click treat. And then one of the dogs that I'm working with now, as soon as he hears the click, he'll disengage and look at me. And so that's worked really well. And this dog, the dog that I'm working with, has actually attacked other dogs. And the other day we had a loose dog run up to us and I'm like, oh crap. And I told the owner, like, he's not good with dogs, and the owner couldn't get his dog to come back, so he ran up and they were nose to nose and sniffed, and then they did fine. But we've been doing months and months and months of look at that with other dogs. So I would try that. If Raven is starting to go over threshold, then just say, let's go, and just turn and go the other way. And then, and when you say that you've tried to use treats, if the dog is already like out of learning mode, so to speak, so if they're already like whining, lunging, then they're really not learning. So that's why, for me, it's better to just say, okay, let's go. And then we turn and go the other way. And And you can definitely use praise, but depending on the dog, the praise might not be enough of a motivator to like look at a dog and look away. Plus, we want to associate that the other dogs and the other people equal treats. Um, so if I mean, and the dog gets to decide what the reinforcer is. So if Raven really loves praise and that's like a really high reinforcer for her, then yeah, you can do that. If she's like, it's okay, but I'd rather have treats. To look at that, I would use treats. Um, Once she sees the other dog and starts to like whine, stare, you could also use the flight cue right there. So like the retreat. And since I have Jade here, I'm going to actually demonstrate a retreat because usually I just explain it, but since I have a lot of room right now. So what the retreat is, it means to the dog, I turn 180 degrees and go the other way and have the best party and treats ever. And I've got two dogs sitting right here, so I'm going to do it with both of them. I'm just going to throw treats in opposite directions so that they don't fight over them. Not that these two, but I'm usually when I do this with my dogs, I use bacon because you want to use a treat that your dog never ever gets any other time. So that when they hear the word retreat or walk away or whatever you want your flight cue to be, when they hear that, it's like, oh my gosh, I get to have bacon. It's the best ever. I'm going to turn and go the other way. So it has to be really high value. For tonight, I'm just going to use salmon treats. Okay, so we are going to pretend, sure, in the way. We're going to pretend that my water bottle, oh, have you guys seen the new, I finally got my pup food water bottle. I'm so excited. I've already decorated it with all my stickers. Okay, so I'm going to put this down, and as soon as Jade goes to sniff it, I'm going to do the flight cue. So let's put it right. What is that, Jade? What is that? Great, retreat. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Good girl, good girl, good girl. Yay, what a good girl. And then here comes Maddie after the fact, so I'm going to give her a few treats too. But, and usually I teach this on leash. I'm just home and my dogs know the flight cue. I just did it like that. So I will get him interested in something low value. Like when I go to people's houses, I always have a water bottle with me. And so I'll set it down and the dogs want to go investigate. And then as soon as they go to sniff it, I'll say like retreat and then throw the treats behind them and to get them to turn the other way. And then we run. It's like lots of praise, high energy, super fun, and best party and treats ever. So you can also use that. And then I'll use something a little bit higher value than my water bottle, but you want to start with something low and boring. Then I might use something like maybe an antler or whatever I have that's a little bit more of a higher value thing. And so, and then you can work up to like other dogs. And I would start to do it from a distance when you see another dog so that you're not doing it like for the first time when you're like meet it with a live dog. So practice it a lot. Sorry, my cousin just called and he lives with me and let me just text him really quick and see. He usually does not text me unless something's wrong. So I'll keep talking while I'm texting him. He should know that I do these lives on Wednesdays, but he probably forgot. Sorry about that. Okay. So Emily, did that all make sense? If you want to email me, I will send you the link to the circle method. But I would honestly start doing a lot of look at that, and then as you can do the look at that, you can get a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit closer. But if your dog starts to whine, pull, lunge, then I would do the retreat and do the flight cue and go the other day. Go the other way. Um, okay, Kathy, what if your dog wants to attack the vacuum while you're vacuuming? Um, I mean, if it's a game, sometimes like I let my dogs like play with it. But if you get your dog used to the vacuum the way that I described, and I don't know, Kathy, if you saw the very first when I did the demo with the vacuum, if you start with them just looking at it while it's still, putting treats on it, just barely moving it without it being on, and then move it more while it's off, and then without it moving, turn it off treat, off treat, off treat, and then on longer treat, 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 and then start to turn it on and move it a little bit. So, and so then I will, so then you can kind of gradually get up to the part where you can actually vacuum without the dog doing it. Another thing that you could do is, since I know your setup, you could put Charlotte in a crate with a really good shoe item. Um, and so while you're vacuuming, she she's in the crate chewing a stuffed Kong or one of her toys or something like that, and give her something to do while you're vacuuming. You can also teach a leave it, and just while your dog is going after the vacuum, leave it, and then when they back away, toss a treat away from the vacuum. You could also do something like that. Okay, so we're having a little bit of a family emergency with my cousin who lives with me. So his son might be coming over in a few minutes. I'll just ask him to be quiet. But sorry for the distraction. I knew it was. He never texts me unless it's something important. Um, Let me just say that he can come here. Okay. Okay. Anthony. Oh, let's see. Did I get everybody's name? I don't have Anthony. So Anthony, I'm going to write your name down before I answer your question. And then Anthony, if you could tell me where you're from, I can enter you in the drawing. Okay, my husky only goes potty at my home. I have taken him out several times in different areas, and he still holds it till we get home. Any suggestions? Um, I mean, so is he going at your home inside or outside? Because it's kind of a lot of dogs will get so excited because they're out on a walk and they're sniffing everything and they kind of forget to go pee or they forget to go potty. Um, One thing that you can do is I would take him out. Also, how old is your husky? So this is kind of what I do. I take the puppy out and take them to the same place and just walk them around on leash because you want potty time to be boring. So it's not sniff time, it's not play time. We're going to go out on leash and we're going to go potty and we're just going to walk around and you can say like, go potty, go potty. It's like, it's not fun time. We're not sniffing. And then if the dog doesn't go potty, then you go back in and the dog goes back in a crate. So they go in a crate for like another half hour and then you can take them back home or back outside again and then say go potty, walk them around in that same area. Once your dog learns what like go potty means, and then when the dog does go potty, then say, oh yay, good potty, and then transfer that over to different areas. So then you can start to teach your dog how to go potty on cue, um, so that they learn that potty means okay, I know what potty means. Okay, I go in this area, I go in this area. But it's actually kind of common for dogs, like when you go out for a walk or something like that, like hold it. Um, and the other thing too is when you take your dog out, after they've gone potty, if they want to sniff and kind of play a little bit outside, let them. Because some dogs will hold it because they don't want to then have to come right back inside. Because some dogs like being outside and they like exploring and sniffing and stuff like that. So um, if you, let's see what we're going to say. Yeah, so if your dog does go outside, then as a reward, you can let your dog like then sniff and explore and things like that, and then they will start to go potty quicker, knowing that they still get to have some playtime and some sniff time. But if they go potty and you bring them right back in, then some dogs will start to hold it, um, so that they don't have to come in quite as quick, if that makes sense. Um, Okay, Emily, if we do a training session with treats, she's mostly okay. So I guess I need to wean her off the treats. You can, like when I'm working with reactive dogs, I use treats for a long time. Um, and with some reactive dogs, I always have them on me just because I want to reward them for calm behavior, for focusing on me. And a lot of our training walks, or a lot of our walks are always training walks. So we're always practicing like come front, retreat, watch me, look at that. And so I always want to have treats for that. Um, but yeah, you can wean her off of the treats if you want and use praise. But just remember that if praise is not a high reinforcer for for Raven, then you're going to want to do the treats. Eventually, when she gets to the point where she can just walk by a dog and not whine, not react, not pull, not lunge, then you can start to wean off the treats. That's when I would wean off of them. But right now, while she's still doing that, then I would keep using the treats. So, okay. Hi, Anita. We have Anita from Florida. Okay. Let's see. Well, I'm scrolling this up. I need to go unlock my door really quick because my cousin's little boy is coming over because they had an emergency at their house. And I have the door locked mainly so because I live in a small town and people just walk in, and so I didn't want somebody just walking in while I was doing live Q&A, so I locked the door. So let me just unlock it real quick. And we'll probably have a little bit of an interruption when he gets here, but that's fine. Love that. I know, I love this. And it holds a lot. Like this goes with me everywhere. Okay, Anita, still working on Drop It, but she's so excited for food, won't even take when food is near. How can I get her to settle down to get rewards for dropping the article? She wants to play tug with the toy. After she drops it, won't repeat the take so we can reward dropping. Let's see. Emily, yes, it is on the website now. That's where I saw it. That's where I bought it. It was right from the website. So, yeah, it's awesome. Thing I like about these water bottles, I probably have like 5 water bottles, and they all have Pitbull stickers, dog prints. So I like to decorate mine. Okay, Anita, let me think. So sometimes I'm thinking like Jade will do that times. Like she'll have an item and then I'll have her drop it. She'll take the treat and then she knows I have treats, so then I can't get her to take it again. So sometimes what I've had to do is I took my treat bag off, but sometimes I'll slide it around so it's behind me so the dogs can't actually see the treat bag. But I will maybe like engage her and I'll kind of show you. I mean, I don't know that she's going to get really super excited with the phone, but I'll show you. Hey, look, what do I have? What is this? What is this? Do you want it? Do you want it? What is that? Can you take? Oh, good take. Good girl. And so that's how I'll kind of get her excited about it again. Come here, man. And then once she has it, then I'll show her a treat and do drop it, and then she'll get the treat. Here, Maddie, here's the treat. Maddie's now is wondering why she doesn't get an antler. Um, and so then I'll pick up the antler again and be like, oh, look what I have. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Look what this is. Do you want it? Do you want it? And I just like really amp it up and make it seem like it's the best thing ever. And then tell her take again. So I try that. Sometimes you just have to kind of play with the dog and get them super excited and think that this is the best thing ever. And then once they take it again, then show them the treat. You drop it, and then they drop it, get the treat, and then pick it up, and it's like, oh my gosh, I have your antler. Oh my gosh, I love this thing. And just get her super excited with it again. I've had the same issue with Jade, teaching her mainly to pick stuff up for me and drop it in my hand. But when we practice and she knows I have treats, she'll just like, she'll pick it up and spit it out for the treat. That's what she does. And then she doesn't want to pick it back up again. So I have to do the same thing. Like I really have to play with her and engage with her to get her to take it again. Sometimes I'll throw it and toss it and I'll say, go get it and play like we're doing fetch or something like that just to get her really into it. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. If not, let me know. Trying to get this to scroll up again. Whoops. Okay. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna go get Maddie an antler because now she's like staring at Jade, wondering why Jade has one and she doesn't. Okay, you have yours over there. Go get your own. Okay, this is why I usually do these at my office because it's chaos at my house all the time with 3 dogs and a raisin cat. Okay, so Tia, I need help with demand barking to get attention and also excited barking when we go places. Okay, Anthony, let me write down California. So with demand barking, I ignore it. So if a dog is demand barking, I will just ignore them. I'll get up and walk away, kind of slough them off, totally ignore them. But then you can also turn around and ask the dog to do something else, like sit and touch, because hand targeting is incompatible with barking because they have to do it with a closed mouth. So I'll ignore, get up, walk away, and then replace that. You could replace it with a go to your place and chew on a toy, sit and hand target, something like that. Then, to take that one step further, when your dog is being calm and not demand barking, reward them. So when my dogs are nice and calm, which is not very often, when they are being calm when I'm working, I will treat them. I'll say, oh, good settle, good calm, like whatever you want to call it, so that they know that that is the behavior that is going to get them the attention, the treats, the rewards, and not the demand barking. So I will actually consciously try to reward them when they're being calm, which is hard because when they're being calm, I'm kind of like not even paying attention because they're calm. So you have to make it a conscious effort to like, okay, my dog's being calm, I'm going to hurry and reward them for being calm. And then you can name it. You can call it good calm, good chill, good settle. And then when you say excited barking when we go places, is that in the car? Like, does she bark in the car? Or is it at the door as you're leaving? I had a German Shepherd that was a relentless, excited whiner in the car because he was a search and rescue dog. So when we were in the car, it usually meant, oh, we're going to go train. We're going to go train. I can't wait to go train. I love to go train. And he would just like whine the whole time. And it was awful. So what I did is I started to like crate him and cover the crate. Of course, I had air conditioning on in the car, but that like helped to kind of settle him down a little bit. You can also teach a quiet cue. And so what I do is when the dog is barking, I'll say quiet one time. Um, I'll say quiet, and then I'll wait for the dog. We'll usually like bark, 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 and then they'll take a breath. And when they go to take that breath, that's when I mark either with a clicker or yes, treat, good, quiet. So that they know. And you want to be careful with the demand barking when you're doing that because some dogs will learn if I bark, then they'll tell me quiet, and then I'll get a treat, and then I bark again, they tell me quiet, I get a treat. So I only give them the treats when I'm teaching the quiet cue, and then I kind of stop doing the treats. So um, once I know that they get it, then I just use praise, and I'll just say, "Oh, good job, good quiet," and then I'll pet them, give them affection, like stuff like that. Um, and then yeah, excitement barking when we go places. I need a little bit more information. So is that like um, at the door? Is that like just because you're in the car? Is it because of things your dog sees while you're driving? Because you can always desensitize your dog to stimuli around you in the car, and we've actually done that before. Um, where I had a client whose dog barked at everything and everybody that he saw in the car. So she drove, I sat in the passenger seat with the dog, and we would drive through parking lots, and it would be like, oh, there's a person, look, click treat. As long as the dog was calm. And it's like, look at that, click treat. Oh, look at that person over there, click treat. Um, if the dog started to bark, then she would turn the car and go the other way. So we would get farther away. But we actually desensitize the dog to a lot of stimuli in her environment by just playing the look at that game in the car. And then you can have people like walk by the car and treat your dog. I don't know if it's male or female. Um, treat for staying calm, things like that. So yeah, you can try any one of those, and hopefully that will help. Um, okay, Thomas. Oh, let's see, before I kind of get this to scroll again. Oh, Anthony, 2 years old. I have to go back up and look at your original question. I have such a hard time getting this thing doesn't want to scroll. Every time I get to the bottom, it doesn't want to scroll. Whoops, now it's stuck. Okay, I might have to come back. Okay, so let me go back to the other question. Okay, so if he's 2 years old, if you're crating, if you do crating, if you you can always put him in a crate if he doesn't go. And when you say he goes at home, is he going in the yard or is he going in the house? Because if he's holding it and then coming home and going in the yard, I think that's totally fine. I think it's just an issue as long as he's not going, like in the house. But if he's going on a walk and then comes home and goes, I think that's totally fine. You can put it on cue though, and when he does like start to go potty, say go potty, and then at the end, oh good potty, and then you can start to use that cue in other places and see if he'll go potty in other places. You could always do that too. Okay, so Tia, car and when we get to places like the vet or pet food store. Yeah, it's funny because one of my dogs hides when we get to the vet. She will like go in the back seat and hide and not want to get out. But every time we go to the vet, she gets her blood drawn, so she doesn't really like the vet so much. So I would try putting her in a crate, and I like for cars, I like the kind of the airline crates that are more enclosed so the dogs can't see out because there's a lot of stimulus going on in their environment. Um, I was just with a client today whose dog gets so nervous in the car that she pees and poops in the car. So they've started to crate her in the car. And I would do that too because then they can't see out, they can't see all this. Plus, then when you get to the vet or the pet store, if the dog's in a crate in the car, plus it is safe. If you get in a car accident, heaven forbid or something, your dog's going to be a lot safer in a crate. That being said, there's only room in my car for one crate. So when I have all three dogs, one is in a crate, the other two are out of the crate. But I put the one in the crate that's the most like all over the car. But you could try crating your dog, and that way when you go to the vet and go to places, different places, then your dog's going to be calm because they can't really see where you are. Then when you go to open the door, if the dog starts whining, like you can do a settle cue or a calm cue or a quiet cue, and then only let your dog out of the crate when they're quiet or when they're calm. Then they get out and go in the pet store or go to the vet. You must have really, I mean, I have awesome vets too, but if your dog like loves to go to the vet, that's a really good sign. And with any of these behavior issues, always think about what do I want my dog to do instead. So instead of barking in the car, let's go in a crate and chew on Nyla or a stuffed calm. Or instead of demand barking, let's sit and hand target, or let's go to your place and be calm. So we always want to think about what do I want my dog to do instead. So like today I was working with a couple and they said, every time we go out hiking, if our dog sees somebody out hiking or on cross country skis, she goes up and just starts barking. So I said, teach him a flight cue. So, retreat, come back to me and get rewarded. Teach the dog to just look at the people and get rewarded and not react. Things like that. So whenever I'm working with people, I always ask myself, okay, what do we want the dog to do instead? So instead of barking at another dog, instead of barking in the car, instead of barking at somebody, I want them to just notice the person and then look at me. Just notice the dog and then watch me. Things like that. So you can always try that as well. Okay. Let's see if we have any more. This might be a slow night. Sorry for all of the little interruptions here. I guess it's a bad thing about me doing this at home, but I kind of needed to do home tonight in case they get here. So, okay, I'm just going back through to see if I've answered everybody's questions. So, Emily, going back to your question with Raven, when a dog stares at another dog, that is considered a threat. And other dogs can perceive it as a threat. So if a dog gets really super focused and starts staring, I will say, let's go, and we go the other way, because I want to break that stare. I don't want dogs like hard staring. And in class, if two dogs start like locking eyes and like really hyper focusing and staring at each other, I'll stand between them and say, oh, no, we're not going to do that. And it's not like they're in trouble. So I use my happy voice, but I just break that concentration from them staring. And I'll also do like a watch me or a come front, which means like come, sit, look at me, things like that. So yeah, I would definitely break up the staring part. Sorry for all the noise. Now that I demonstrated that with all three of my dogs have antlers. Oh, I forgot to write down Nicole from Phoenix. If we don't have anybody else on here, we'll do the drawing. And Thomas, I need to write you down. Also from Phoenix. Boy, I tell you, I wish I was in Phoenix today because I was freezing outside. Okay, I think I answered does anybody else have any questions? Like, Did I answer your questions? Do you need more explanation? Oh, here's another question. Okay. So Jennifer asks, how do you work on barrier aggression? When people are outside our fence, he acts very aggressive, but if they come in the house, he's fine. Um, that's a really good question. A lot of times there's quite a few dogs like that where like my dogs will bark at the fence and you'll think they want to kill somebody. But if I open the fence, they're like fine. They just want to say hi. They can greet another dog, another person, like it doesn't matter. So barrier aggression can be pretty common. What I do is I will teach a flight cue, or if you can somehow barricade or your dog's access to looking through the fence. One thing that can happen is, let's say there's somebody walking by. Maddie, you are so noisy with that. Let's say that the people are walking by and your dog bark, 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 and they keep walking. So to your dog, that's reinforcing because they think if I bark enough, I can make people leave. And then if they come in the house, the barrier's gone and it's fine. So if you think about the mailman or the UPS guy or just people taking a walk and your dog barks through the fence or barks out the front window and the people keep going, or the UPS guy brings a package and then leaves, in your dog's mind, they're making that happen. So I will often instruct clients to remove barriers. So that could be like, blinds or drapes, or, if you have a chain link fence, they have those little slats that you can put in. But you can also teach a flight cue. So when your dog, that's not yours. So when your dog is barking out the fence, then do like the retreat, because that's going to mean I turn 180 degrees, have the best party ever, and get really high value treats. So you can actually teach your dog to move away from the fence and back the other way. And then if you do that enough, your dog will start to learn, like, oh, when I see somebody outside, I turn and go the other way. And then you're going to really heavily reward that for a while. And then you can you can reward it forever if you want. I usually reward a flight cue all the time. But if you don't want to, then you can go to like lots of praise, but make sure it's like, oh, good boy, good boy, good boy, good boy. Like make a big deal about it. Like, best party ever. You're the best dog ever. And teach them to move away. So I've actually seen this done with dogs that bark through the fence at other dogs. They learn a flight cue and then they actually do nose work or something in the yard. So if you can do like the flight cue and then throw the treats in the yard and say, go hunt. Hey, are you home for good now?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you can like do the flight cue, get them to move away from the fence, and then throw the treats in the snow or the lawn and say, go hunt. And then that's going to redirect your dog to using his nose and hunting in the grass for the treats. And so it gives them something better to do and something different to do than barking at the fence. So then I actually saw videos. This was a training workshop that I was at, but then they showed videos of a dog on the other side of the fence actually barking. And the dog like chose to go the other way and start like searching through the snow for treats or whatever. Like he just found something else to do in his yard other than barking at the other dog, which was cool to watch. He wasn't cute. He just made that choice. There was a dog barking on the other side of the fence. He turned away and started to do something else in his own yard that he had been rewarded for. So try that. And then you can always do the flight cue at the fence, and then when people come in, then you can bring the dog in and say, oh, look, it's just like so-and-so. And then once they realize that, oh yeah, they're in our house, it's no big deal. So when I worked in rescue, it was really common when dogs first came in to really bark a lot in their kennel. And when they would do that, I would usually teach them like a go to your bed. So go to your bed and be calm while we walk by. But then once they saw us every day, oh yeah, it's just you. Okay, I'm going to go to my bed and sit down, and you're going to toss me a treat. And then they were totally calm and totally fine. So it does take a lot of repetition, but eventually they learn, oh yeah, it's just you. Okay, I know. People walk by, I go to my bed, I sit, and we would do it every single day, like 10 minutes twice a day. We would practice like go to your, first I would teach the go to your bed and sit, and then I would start to have people start to walk by on purpose, and then I would have the dog go to your bed, sit, and then they started to just do it on their own. So if you have a spot in your yard that your dog can go to and lay down, you could actually do the go to your place outside and teach the dog that when they see somebody on the other side of the fence, um, then they go to their spot and be calm. And you can have toys out there like a Kong or a Nylabone or something like that, and just have the dog go to their spot and be calm. And then you can bring the dog in and say, "Oh, look, it's so and so. Say hi." So you could try that. Okay. So Thomas, let me scroll this all the way up before I answer your question. Let me write Destiny. So just so you guys all know, since we're all big one happy pupper family, my cousin is going through a divorce and he lives with me now. And he has an 11-year-old and they had an emergency. So he actually had to come home from work, and that's why all of the chaos and the distraction. So I apologize. But yeah, he lives with me, and so that's what all that was about. He usually is working. He works on the ambulance here, and usually he's like on the ambulance all night on Wednesdays, but he's got to go pick up his son. Okay, so Thomas is asking, my biggest struggle is when she's alone. 1-year-old Aussie cattle dog rescue. She's well behaved, but chews when I'm at work because needs a release of energy. She has a doggy door. My neighbors say she cries when alone. Um, okay, so I don't think that 1 year, I really don't think she's going to grow out of that. And it might be a boredom thing, especially cattle dogs. They need a job. And it could be some separation anxiety too. So dogs that are destructive when you leave, um, then a lot of times that's separation anxiety. Um, and I have a dog door, but I have two dogs that still have to be crated when I leave because they get bored and will do damage. Even though we get exercise and mental stimulation, but I'm bad about not always having time to do it in the morning, so sometimes we do it at night. Um, but in the morning, if you have time to do physical exercise and then do mental stimulation, so like snuffle mat, treat dispensing toys, puzzle toys, things that are really going to tire the dog out. I would do that in the morning before you go to work. And then sometimes, if you have somebody that can come and let your dog out and do a potty break, do a short walk, like hire a dog walker to come over, get your dog, go out for a walk, and then bring the dog back. I would do that. Um, if she's being destructive, then I would crate her during the day, depending on how long you're gone. So you can't leave her outside because she cries. Some other things, to me, it sounds like separation anxiety. I know Pupford has a really good course on separation anxiety, so um, you might want to check that out just because that protocol is a lot longer than what I can go into here. But some things you can do for separation anxiety are like doggy daycare during the day, hire a dog walker to come partway through the day. Um, and then the part about, so dogs kind of live in the moment. So when you reward, when you get home, she doesn't really know what she's being rewarded for, other than, oh, Dad, I'm so happy to see you, and you get a treat. But if you give her the silent treatment because she made a mess, she doesn't understand that she's getting the silent treatment because she made a mess. Because the mess probably happened earlier, and she's not going to connect those two. So she's going to be like, oh, no, that's like giving me the silent treatment. I don't understand why. I was just being a dog today. Like, what did I do? So your dog's actually not connecting those two things with silent treatment because she chewed something up. And that could actually give her more anxiety. Separation anxiety is like a panic attack for a dog that doesn't like to be left alone. Um, if they make a mess after the fact, there's really nothing you can do. Like when my dogs make a mess and I come home, they'll be wagging their tail like, oh, it's so good to see you. We had so much fun while you're gone. And I'm like, yeah, I see you had a lot of fun while I was gone. But I can't punish them for it because they live in the moment and they're not going to understand why they're being punished, if that makes sense. So I would actually go through a separation anxiety protocol, which the short answer is, um, like walk to the door and then don't leave, and then go sit down and watch TV, and then go turn the door handle, go back, sit down. But you want your departures and your arrivals to be really, really low key. So um, when you come home, whether your dog made a mess or not, at first just ignore and just come back, make it like no big deal, like, oh yeah, I'm home, and then a few minutes later, oh hey, how's it going? Then you can give a treat. And I would give a treat whether she made a mess or not. But if you work through the separation anxiety protocol, you should be able to get to the point where you can leave her inside out of a crate and have her not make a mess. But for that to happen, the dog can't be left alone. So that would mean neighbors coming to help, doggy daycare, dog walker, um, things like that. So check out the separation anxiety training course because it's really good and it will really help you with that. Okay, Destiny, I need to write you down, South Carolina. Um, let's see. My dog barks, whines, and runs from window to window whenever someone goes outside with her. Is this separation anxiety or is this just her wanting outside? Um, it could just be her wanting to go outside, but is it? Well, I'm a little bit confused. Runs from window to window whenever someone goes outside with her. So is that before you go outside, and then when you're outside, she's fine? Um, because some dogs like will run to the door or run to the window. If there's something going on outside, then a lot of dogs will run to the window because they want to see what's going on outside, or they want to go bark at the mailman or the FedEx guy or whatever. Um, if she's like inside and running from window to window, it could just be excitement because she wants to go outside. I have a dog who would truly rather be outside than inside, and so she's always outside, even if it's cold, even if it's snowing. She might go sit underneath the trampoline and just be sitting there watching what's going on around her because she loves to be outside. But we have a dog door, so she can just go in and out, in and out. But if you're going outside with her, I wouldn't think that that's separation anxiety because you're with her. So she's really not being separated from anything, if that makes sense. If I'm reading your question right, I would think it's just that she just enjoys being outside. And then, oh, she tries to get out of the house. She whines a lot. So are you still in the house or are you outside of the house? Oh, sorry, I read your question wrong. Whenever someone goes outside without her, I was reading it as with her, sorry. Um, yeah, so that could be separation anxiety. And it could be that when you leave, then she's running from window to window, door to door. Um, does she get destructive ever? Like once you leave and she's okay and you're gone, does she then like destroy things? Does she? Because I had a dog that had separation anxiety, and he actually tried to. Um, claw his way out or dig his way out of the house one time, which was really not a good thing. He tried to chew the doorknob. He tried to chew his way out. Um, I am going to take my, while I'm answering this, I'm going to take my computer over here because I need to plug my computer. Um, so he would actually try to chew his way out of the house. Um, and it was not good. He did a lot of damage to carpet, walls, doors, everything. So yes, that could be. Now, if your dog is not destructive once you leave, then it could just be a little bit of separation distress at just your departing. But then once you go, if your dog's fine, then it's probably not a huge deal. What I would do in that case is you can start to desensitize your dog to different cues that you're leaving. So, like walk to the door, like just what I explained a little bit earlier with Thomas's. Was it Thomas or who was asking about separation anxiety? Anyway, you can desensitize the dog to cues that you're leaving, like walk to the door, touch the doorknob, turn the doorknob, then go outside, come back in, and just build up to leaving for like 1 minute, and then 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes. Okay, so you never leave her out of the crate when we leave. It's just when, like, my sisters go outside and she's inside. So are you still inside with her? Because if you're still inside with her, then it could just be that they're going outside and she wants to go with. Because like Jade doesn't really have separation anxiety, but if she sees me go to the door, she's like running to the door, sitting, and because she doesn't want to get left. She wants to go wherever I'm going because she does go to work with me a lot, and she wants to go all these different places. Jade, that's not yours. And so it's just a thing of like, I want to go with you, I want to go with you, I want to go with you. And so that's what it could be, is that she wants to go with whoever's going outside because she loves to go outside. That's what it sounds like more to me. Sorry, I read your question wrong. So you could teach her something else to do. So like if your sisters leave and she starts to whine and wants to go, like you could teach her like go to your place and I'll give you a stuffed Kong, or come to me and I'll give you a treat. You could also have your sisters like go out immediately, come back in, and then start to build up time. Like, okay, now we're going to go out. We're going to walk to the end of the sidewalk, come back in, and just like kind of desensitize the dog to somebody leaving and then coming back, and then leaving for a little bit longer, coming back. And so just desensitize your dog to that whole somebody leaving without me thing. And you can also make it just be really fun inside. So like, oh, they're leaving, but guess what we're going to do inside? We're going to do a puzzle toy, or I'm going to let you chew apart a cereal box, or we're going to have a stuffed Kong or something like that, so that she gets to have fun inside while somebody else is leaving. So hope that answered your question. Okay. I think next week I'm definitely going to go to my office. Sorry for all of the kind of chaos. I did one little thing with Jade, and then all of a sudden, all three of my dogs want antlers, which they usually don't get. I usually give them like turbo tendons or something, but somebody was giving them away, so I took 3 of them for my dogs, and I was demonstrating a take with Jade, and then all of a sudden the other 2 dogs are like, well, how come we don't get one? So just to avoid any fighting over things, they all get them. Okay. I don't see any questions. So let's do the drawing. And then if we get more questions, I'm happy to stay and answer them. And if we don't have any more questions, then we'll adjourn for tonight. And I'll see you guys all next Wednesday. at 6. So remember, it's always 6 o'clock Mountain Time. Um, okay, so I'm going to put all these in and draw. Okay, tonight's winner is Tia Quinn from Massachusetts. So congratulations, Tia. So what you could do is email Pupford at, I'm putting it in the chat right now. So hello@pupford.com. So Tia, email them, let them know what kind of training treats you want. And then I will also email them and let them know that you are tonight's winner, and they will send you out a free bag of training treats. I usually get, oh, Julie, ask away. I usually stay on till 8, so you can go ahead and ask. I'm just like sitting here chilling with my dog, so I just didn't see anybody else's questions pop up. But going back to the training treats, when I need a high value training treat, I usually always go for salmon. They smell more, and like I haven't met a dog yet that doesn't love salmon. But I also use chicken, the beef. Today I was using the rabbit, and the dogs love the rabbit. So you can use like if you have one that you haven't tried yet, go ahead and try a new flavor. So, okay, Julie, go ahead and ask one of your questions. I'm happy to stay on and answer. I'll give you a second to type. How's that? And I'll get a drink of water. The salmon ones are my favorite. And they're usually the dog's favorite. So with a lot of the reactive dogs I work with, when we are out and we're actually to look at that, the retreat, doing the different things, then I use the salmon. But other times I might just use rabbit or chicken or beef. They're all really good. Oh, it's about agility. Okay, I'll answer it if I can. I don't know a ton about agility, but go ahead and ask, and if I don't know, I'll tell you, and I'll try to find an answer. I mean, we did a little bit of agility with the dogs at the rescue, just because it was something fun for them to do, and we had a donated agility course out there. So we would use treats just to kind of lure the dogs through the tires and up over things. So we did a little bit, but I've never done like competition agility or anything like that. But yeah, if you have questions about agility, go ahead and ask, and I'll do my best to answer it. Okay, so I'm starting to teach Dakota to jump over things and go on her things. When she does that, I do give her the cues of when she does it. When she comes back, she doesn't bother jumping over it again or going through it again. She finds a way around it. Yeah, so I would lure both ways. So if you're teaching her, like, let's say to go through a tire, I would lure her like through the tire, and then reward. And then if you want her to go back through the tire, then lure her back through. Because not all dogs realize, go under things. Yeah, I would lure both ways, because I've seen that where you lure them and then they'll like run back around. So if they don't have the motivation to do it, then we have to keep giving the lure to get them to do it. So I would lure underneath whatever you're having Dakota go under, and then reward, and then lure her again the other way and have her go under. And then you can even name it like go under and then go back under. So like with Jade's spin, her right spin I call spin, but her left I call turn. So when she hears spin, she turns one way, and when she hears turn, she goes the other way. And that's just my way of doing things rather than going right and left. So you can say under, and then back under or something like that. But I would lure both ways. Because again, dogs don't generalize, and they don't always understand that going through this way means we also want them to go back through this way. Um, so I would do that, and it's the same thing going over things. Lure them over, and then lure them back over the other way. Um, and I think you could use the same cue if you wanted. You just have to do a lot of it. Like when I was teaching. Oh, it's in your hallway. Yeah. So, like when I was teaching Jay touch, and I teach her to touch and jump my hand, or touch my hand, I'll I'll put it up, but I will use a lure in each hand until she gets it, and then I'll say touch, 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 and she'll jump and jump and jump. But I did have to use the lure with both hands because she didn't learn that touch meant the same for this hand as this hand, if that makes sense. So I would lure her over one way and then lure her back over the other way. And I do use hand signals for both. And maybe that's what's confusing her is like for one spin, like for spin, I'll go spin and then I'll say turn and go the other way. Right touch is my right hand, left touch is this hand. So you can even do something like over and then over, like make your hand go the other way so that she knows over backwards too. So like over this way and then back over this way, and under you can do this, and then under the other way, do it with the other hand. So she'll learn what over and under means, but then use the hand signal like I want you to go this way, I want you to go this way. And I think that will help. And I'm glad you're doing it outside or inside first before going outside because it'll be hard. It'll be easier to teach it inside first and then go outside. Um, but yeah, try that. I would lure both ways, going both ways, and then maybe putting a hand signal to it, like under this way, under this way. But you're gonna lure it first, so lure a lot to get them to go both ways. So it's kind of like with Jade. I taught her to do a rollover going one way, but she can't really do it the other way. And with that, it's okay. Like I'm fine with her going one way. Now, if I wanted to teach her to go back the other way, I would probably say, like, now go the other way. And so for her, like, right hip rollover would be rollover, left hip rollover would be other way, and she just learns two different cues for each thing, if that makes sense. So yeah, they don't really generalize what we want them to do on both sides. Okay, Julie, did you have more questions that you wanted to ask? I think agility is great. It's really good enrichment. And in fact, Thomas, I would almost tell you to do some agility with your Aussie because they're really good at it and they really need that mental stimulation and to figure stuff out and get that energy out and get that exercise out. So doing agility with a dog like that, I think would be really, really good and to kind of help with some of that destructive behavior that's going on. Okay, if we don't have any more questions, I will let you guys go. And I will see you guys next Wednesday at 6 o'clock p.m. And everybody have a great week. Okay, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.